Hey, it's Kevin.
One thing that really bothers me about nachos you get at fast food places or gas stations is that usually you get like a clump of cheese.
So just for research purposes, I'm on my way to Taco Bell to buy you some nachos to show you what I'm talking about. So we got our nachos, and here is what that looks like. Ooh.
You can see that after I finished a couple of the chips, it's basically just empty now.
It is pretty good though. Cheese, when exposed to heat, leaves behind a layer of fat, which we don't want for nacho cheese because it'll make our chips all greasy and soggy. For them to play well together, we'll have to use, let me see if I have it. Here it is, sodium citrate. I'm glad I still had some because I definitely didn't just buy this for this video. Sodium citrate is a sodium salt of citrate with alkalinizing activity. Here's what it looks like in 2D, and here's what it looks like in 3D. Did that make sense? Great, I didn't get it either. Basically all the salt does is to hold everything together, specifically the water and the oil in the cheese, therefore giving us a uniform consistency. I wouldn't normally measure things, but I really want my lunch to turn out good and this video to turn out good. So the formula is 4 grams of sodium citrate to 100 grams of cheese to 93 grams of milk or water. 93 grams of water. This is what this looks like. Basically just looks like salt. 8 grams of that because we're doing 2 servings. 200 grams of cheese. We boil the water. The sodium citrate. Easy enough. Then we add the cheese. It says add the cheese and blend with it. Immersion? I don't have The whole point is to get it to emulsify, right? So as long as it melts without separating, I think we're good. Ooh, look at that. Look at that cheesy sauce. I'm surprised how easy that was. I did say this is gonna be fancy nachos, didn't I? Okay, so I bought some of this 24 karat gold edible gold, and it looked like that on the website. When I got it, it's tiny. Look at that.
I think you're supposed to separate it. Ooh, I see. Wait.
So there's 2 pieces of paper, and you're supposed to separate them like so. Oh, look at that. And then we're just gonna put that in our cheese. Ooh. Another one. Now we have little flakes of gold in our cheese. That's pretty fancy. Now that we have our cheese, we're just gonna let that sit, and I'm gonna go back to the store to get some more ingredients. There's really a lot of options when it comes to chips. Different flavors too. Yeah, this one seems pretty authentic. Let's get this one. Gotta get a nice cut of meat. This one looks pretty tasty. Wow, a lot of people are taking spring cleaning pretty seriously this year. Jalap, onion, cilantro, and tomatoes. Now back at home, now for the steak. While we wait for the pan to get hot, I was thinking, am I the only one that prefers a nice ribeye to a fillet? Our cheese is looking good. It's not separating. Tastes pretty good. To ensure you have some nice color on your steak, you want to make sure that when you put your steak on the pan, it should scream. Did you know that nachos was invented by a person? His name was Ignacio Anaya. It's this guy. He was a maitre d' at a restaurant, basically like a host. A group of people entered his restaurant and couldn't find a chef, so he fried some tortillas and put a bunch of toppings on top. And since his nickname was Nacho, hence nachos. Just gonna flip our steak here. Let's see. Oh. Oh. Look at that color. Beautiful. While the steak is cooking, we're just gonna cut everything into its appropriate shape. Tomatoes come with this like juicy part in the middle. I usually like to take it out. You can leave it in if you want, but the more liquid, the wetter your nachos are gonna be. The coronavirus thing is really getting out of hand. I was at the store earlier and some of the shelves were empty. Crazy. This is how thick I like my jalapenos. Circle, squares. And like the virus that's going on, you always want to wash your hands after cutting jalapenos. And don't touch your eyes. Oh my God. Here's our steak after letting it rest. Let's just cut into it to see what we're working with. Now would you look at that? Beautiful. I'm just gonna dice this into little squares. So now that we have all our ingredients, it's time to assemble. We first lay down a nice bed of tortilla chips, and then we put a layer of cheese on top. Like so. And some of our steak. And other toppings. Dun, dun, dun. Put another layer of chips on top of that. More cheese. Before I forget, jalapenos. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, I almost forgot. Gold. Put some of our gold flakes on the top of this. So here's our Taco Bell nachos. And here's our golden nachos. This is probably as fancy as you're gonna get to nachos. Oh, look at this nacho. That cheese sauce is really good. All right, I'm gonna go enjoy my lunch now. While I was editing this video, I realized that the Bay Area just announced in order to shelter in place for the COVID-19 thing, which will require people to stay at home, which is sort of insane considering I was just outside yesterday driving around. It does say that I can leave for essentials, but it does also say that a violation could lead to imprisonment or a fine, which I don't know if I want to risk. This will last until April 7th, they said. But regardless, if I can't leave home, I got plenty of ingredients to make nachos.